It ain't like that I just said, oh, I'm going to kill these people for nothing. That's the people that we supposed to kill. So yeah, that's why I did that. Okay. So, but just to illustrate. So it would be all of everyone in the jury box with 3 people. Objection, judge. Objection. That's 13 people. Objection sustained. Well, you were disappointed about the outcome, but you got a phone call from Maurice Landry that day, didn't you? I got a phone call? Yeah, the day of your sentencing, to cheer you up. I got a phone call? Yeah. Or, I'm sorry, you made a phone call to Mr. Landry, didn't you? Yeah, I called him. Because you wanted to know, what's up, man? I thought I would get 1 life sentence, and now I have 4 life sentences. So you called Mr. Landry, right? Yeah, I called him because my PSI said 1 life sentence. Well, it just said life. It didn't say 4 life sentence. So I'm calling to see what's up. Like, man, I got fucked over. Like, at the end of the day, I was looking forward to get a life sentence. It wasn't like that I was looking forward to get less than that, because we didn't even fight to try to get less than that. So you got messed over, so you called the top man, right? I called Maurice. Maurice ain't the top man, because if Maurice was the top man, then the judge would have never gave me what she gave me. So the judge to me looked like the top man to me. Well, let's play the call at March 4th, 2015 at 3:57. Call from St. Charles Parish Jail to the U.S. Attorney's Office. I'm sorry, just to correct the record, this is the day after your sentencing, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Could you back up a second? I apologize. And that voice, the one laughing, that's Maurice Landry, right? Yeah. When you were discussing your plea agreement before, we talked about how your plea agreement contained no promise that they would actually file the motion, right? Yeah. But he just told you that once we file the paperwork, right? So it's your belief that he actually is going to file this motion for you, right? No. You ain't hear what he said? He said it's up to the judge if the judge granted or not. So it ain't nothing promised. I did hear it. What I am saying is, Mr. Landry is telling you that I'm going to file the motion for you, right? And then it's up to the judge. But he is saying I'm going to file the motion for you, right? No, he ain't never tell me that. I didn't hear that. Can we back it up? Once we file the paperwork, how do you understand that? I understand that, like, whenever everything go through and things go right, and they find out that everything's true and, the case over with, then they file paperwork and it's up to the judge to grant it or not grant it. So once we file your Rule 35 motion, then it will be up to the judge, right? He said, yeah, that's what he said. But it ain't nothing promised. He is telling me ain't nothing promised. Everything must go through. This case ain't ever go through, so I don't even know when they got charged. Okay. When the indictment came about. Judge, if we can just instruct the witness to answer questions, not ask them. Alright, just answer the questions, okay? If you don't understand a question, ask him to repeat himself. So, when he is complimenting you on the letter that you wrote, which is what you read to the court, and he is telling you that, I think you'll see that impact in the long run from that. Surely you understood that as him saying what you did in court today will help you once we file the Rule 35 motion, right? No. What he is saying is, you heard what he said, he think. So that means that he don't know for sure, he thinking. Whatever he think, that's what he think. He don't know for sure. He ain't telling me no for sure word like, oh yeah, this is what's going to go down. He's saying, I think. So that's like, his word. Ain't no specific thing like he ain't telling me, oh yeah, this gonna go down. He's saying he think. So that's what he thinking. Did this personal, encouraging conversation that you had with one of the head prosecutors at the United States Attorney's Office encourage you that you are going to get what you hope you're going to get in this case? No, he ain't encouraged me nothing, because I still felt the same way, because I had to go to sleep every day, waking up knowing I got 4 life sentences in 20. Plus, he said what he want to say. Maurice is a police, so he the one that got me in jail. Ain't nothing promising. I don't know. I don't trust Maurice like that. Like, I got faith in him, but at the end of the day, ain't nothing promised. So, is this just a game like it was with Agent Wood? He might be lying to you, you're lying to him. Same situation? No, I didn't ever say that. Judge, I'm going to move on to another section, so I think this would be a good place to end the day. We'll resume again tomorrow. Good morning. I hope you all had a nice, restful, long weekend. Mr. Southern, go ahead and please proceed, sir. Mr. Stewart, I remind you that you're still under oath. Okay. Good morning. Again, I'm Billy Southern. I represent Evans Lewis. On Thursday morning, the judge instructed you couldn't talk to anybody else about your testimony. Do you remember that? Yeah. When you got back to St. Charles Parish Jail, did you talk to Breezy? No. Did you talk to Washington McCaskill? No. Did you talk to any other witnesses back there? No. Okay, thank you. On direct examination, you remember that Mr. Rainier asked you about your plea agreement, right? Yeah. And he read you the bit about whether the Rule 35, whose decision that was, right? What did you say? He asked you whose decision it was whether a Rule 35 would be filed, right? Yes. And you said that you understand that it's the government's responsibility, right? Yeah, it's up to the government. That it's their decision. And then on cross-examination, I asked you similar questions. And do you remember telling me that it's up to the government whether to file that motion, right? Yeah. And when I asked you whether they promised to do it, you said no. It's if they decide to do it, right? Yeah. And then I played that phone call with Mr. Landrew, and you said, ain't nothing promised. He's telling me there ain't nothing promised, right? What you saying? You told me that Mr. Landrew, in that phone call, where it sounded an awful lot like he'd promised you a Rule 35, that you said nothing was promised on that phone call, right? Yeah. Okay. And is that still your testimony? Is that true that there was no promise for you to get a Rule 35 at any point? No, it ain't no promise because it's up to them. I've got to hold on to my word. I've got to stay truthful and tell the truth about everything. And then they're going to do what they have to do. And then they'll make their decision, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to offer into evidence Defense Lewis Exhibit L. M. Any objection by the government? No, Your Honor. Hearing no objection, any objection by defense counsel? Hearing no objection, let M be admitted into evidence. Evans Lewis M be admitted into evidence. Mr. Lewis, if you would take a look at, Mr. Stewart, if you would take a look at this document. And for the record, what I'm showing Mr. Stewart is a February 13th, 2015 letter from Maurice Landrew to counsel for Mr. Stewart. And, in particular, if you could look at these two paragraphs. So you had concerns about moving forward with your sentencing proceeding, right? Did I what? You and your attorneys had concerns about moving forward with your sentencing hearing in 2015. Isn't that right? What you mean moving forward? Going to get sentenced by Judge Brown. You were worried about that, right? Yeah. And your attorneys were worried about that because you weren't going to get your $5,000 at the sentencing hearing, were you? I don't know. I just went with whatever my lawyer was going with. Okay. And in the end, when I asked you on Wednesday about what you expected to happen at your sentencing hearing, you said, we're not even going to fight for less than a life sentence, right? Yeah. We couldn't fight for less than a life sentence because my PSI came back to life. Okay. Well, you could have fought for it, but you decided not to fight for it. Isn't that right? I don't know the law like that. My lawyer's going to handle all my business. Okay. Well, I just want to read into the record the second paragraph of this letter. I have discussed. I'll just read the first. I'm in receipt of your letter dated February 11, 2015, concerning the government's position on filing a Rule 35 motion on behalf of Gregory Stewart in the above entitled case, and am very cognizant of the difficult strategic decisions that you and your client faced prior to the sentencing hearing. I have discussed this matter with the First Assistant, Rich Westling, and the United States Attorney, Kenneth Polite, and have been authorized to assure you that the government fully intends to abide by the terms of the plea agreement in which we entered with Mr. Stewart. Second sentence. Assuming Mr. Stewart continues to cooperate both truthfully and completely and fulfills his obligation under the plea agreement with the government, as it appears he has done for the past several months, the government will file a Rule 35 motion as contemplated by the written plea agreement in this case. So, Mr. Stewart, isn't it accurate that they told you that they had made up their mind and that they will file a Rule 35? In this paper, it showed like they said that I got to keep on going. They're going by my plea agreement. My plea agreement said I got to be truthful. So in there, they say if I continue on being truthful and doing what I have to do, then they're going to hold up on their word, do what they have to do. You understand that your attorney regards this as essentially, objection, judge, objection, overruled. That your attorney regards this as essentially a supplement to your plea agreement, that this creates new terms in your plea agreement. Do you understand that? No, I understand that. Okay. And you understand that in exchange for this letter, your attorney agreed to withdraw certain objections at your sentencing hearing. Do you know that? I don't know what the strategy my lawyer is going on. Whatever strategy she go with, that's what we was going with. But you know you rolled over at sentencing and basically took a life sentence, right? She gave me a life sentence. I didn't take it. But, of course, as you've already testified, it's not your intention that in the long run, this is going to end up with you with a life sentence, right? I don't know what it's going to end up with. That's why it's a chance that I'm taking. But you previously testified, right, that you wouldn't be here if you thought that this was all going to end with you with a life sentence, right? No, because it don't make sense. If I give the government information and still with a life sentence, that don't make no sense. I would do better just going to trial and get a life sentence that way. Exactly. So you're on the witness stand hoping that the sentence that Judge Brown gave you, life, turns out to not really be your sentence. Right? Yeah, it's a chance that I'm taking. Great. Thank you very much. Also, at your sentencing proceeding, you made a big show of your regret. Isn't that right? You expressed your regret about everything that you had done. Right? Yeah. And you apologized to all of the families, and you said, I'm very sorry. Right? Yeah. And you talked about how your life sentence could never pay off your debt to society. Right? Yeah. Okay. I would like to, again, move to admit Defendant's Exhibit J. I previously sought to admit it. This is Mr. Stewart's sentencing statements. I think in light of the recent disclosures, they are yet more relevant. So I would, again, move to admit Defendant's Exhibit J, which is merely the portions of the May 20th, 2015 record where Mr. Stewart addresses both the court and Ms. Keys. Any objection by the government? The same objection, Judge. Hearsay. Okay. Overruled. Proceed. Any objection by any defense counsel? No, Your Honor. Hearing none, go ahead. And you remember the statements you made to Judge Brown, right? Yeah. Okay. Did the government help you write the statement that you made? No. No. Did the government tell you that you should apologize? No. Are you sure that the government didn't tell you that you should apologize? The government ain't on my side. I decided to do that. So you told the government that you accept responsibility for your actions, right? Yeah. And that over the past 4 years of incarceration that you've learned a lot, right? Yeah. You told her that you had a hard life and that you accept your mistakes, right? Yeah. you told her that you murdered for the first time when you were 15 years old, right? Yeah. But at the time you made this, you'd already gotten immunity for that, right? Yeah. Okay. You said you're your own man. No one pulled the trigger for you, right? Yeah. You talked about how, here at the bottom, I learned that there are friends that I thought were friends were not family. Friends that I murdered for was only using you, right? Yeah. So you were saying that these men were using you? That's what you told Miss Brown, or Judge Brown? No, I ain't said them. I said my friends. That's Merle and Breezy. Okay. So you don't think that these men were using you? No. Merle and Breezy were using you? Yeah. Right. And you said, I know that I owe society and many families more than I can ever repay. I know a life sentence for me will not bring back the people I have taken. Right? Yeah. But when you said that to her, you weren't intending that you ever actually serve a life sentence, right? What? When you said that to her, it wasn't your intention to actually serve a life sentence, was it? Anything could happen. Anything could happen. So a life sentence wouldn't pay off your debt, but it would be even better if you had a 7-year sentence, right? Yeah. You talked about you're sorry for the pain that you caused, right? You what? You're sorry for the pain that you've caused, right? Yeah. And you talked about to the families I've hurt, I'm very sorry for the pain that I've caused, right? Yeah. And who were you referring to there? To the family members. Gregory Key's mama was on the phone and Magnolia Shorty people. Well, about Magnolia Shorty, isn't it true that you said after you were charged with this that Magnolia Shorty's just a hoe who shouldn't have been there? What you saying? Isn't it? You were just saying about how you were sorry for the pain you caused to Magnolia Shorty's family. But isn't it true that you referred to her as a hoe who shouldn't have been there, with that guy? When I say hoe, that mean a girl. That's a word that we use in the street that's referring to a girl. That don't mean like it's just no bad person. Okay, so you didn't mean it in a nasty way when you called her a hoe? No, I call my girls hoes. Okay, so when you were saying sorry to the families of your victims. The family of Calvin Broomfield. Are you sorry to them? Yeah. What about the family of Kendall Favor? Are you sorry to them? Are they included? Or is it that because that's retaliation, you're not sorry? No. At the end of the day, all that I was doing was wrong. It's just that, things happened because I was going to get hurt. So, I don't know. I just said sorry to their people because I know they was hurt behind it. I know my people would be hurt if I'd be dead too. Okay. Well, you're not really sorry. You just, want to get a good sentence, right? And you want the judge to think you're sorry, right? No. I said I feel sorry for their family. As for the dudes who was going to hurt me, at the end of the day, what I supposed to do? Call the police and tell them, oh, this person going to hurt me. And then they write it down. Then I get killed. That person get picked up. Then my life gone. You suppose that's the only thing I could have did. Okay. So, like, for Quelton Broussard, you're sorry to his family, but you're not sorry you killed him, right? That's what you're saying? I said that I'm sorry to the family. Okay. But I'm asking you, what you just said is you're not sorry for killing Quelton Broussard because he would have killed you if you didn't do it, right? You had to do it, right? Man, I don't know what could have happened. I'm just saying that I asked the family to forgive me and, things happen. Things happen. Okay. You don't think you were lying to Judge Brown when you said you were sorry for killing these guys? No. Okay. And when you referred to Martin Luther King about not overcoming oppression and violence, were you suggesting that you're somehow a victim? Is that what you were suggesting here? That you didn't overcome oppression like Dr. King didn't overcome oppression? Is that what you're suggesting? What? This reference to Martin Luther King, are you comparing the struggle that you had with Quelton Broussard and Man and all of that with Martin Luther King's struggle for civil rights? Is that the comparison that you're making? No, I ain't say nothing about Quelton Broussard and Calvin Celestine. I just said my life.